Strat-O-Matic Excel Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Troll.
(1973 to 1976). Welcome back, baseball fans. The 1973-76 Carryover League playoffs. Playoffs are here in the American League Wildcard Series. We have a game today. In the American League Wildcard, number 6 Detroit Tigers host the number 3 seed Ohio Players, who also won their division, which is in the American League North. So it's a repeat of a division matchup of the two squads. First time they met, Detroit won 4-2. And then after that, they beat the Expos 8 out of 10, seemingly, on paper at least, to clinch the division. However, they would drop 3 straight to Baltimore after that in the tournament, and the Ohio Players went on a run, and the Tigers found themselves half game out, which pushed them into the wild card. And they're not normally concerned, you would think, right? They're playing a division rival they beat. They just don't have home field advantage. And the Ohio Players have just had a remarkable run of Cinderella that is an overlooked. There's some great players on this team. They really shouldn't be a Cinderella. If you look at postseason, that World Series experience, you've got Dave Cash on the Pirates and Phillies, Dan Driesen on the Reds, George Hendrick on the Cardinals, Bill Robinson on the Pirates, L. Ron Hendricks on Baltimore, Vida Blue on Oakland, Rudy May on the Yankees, Doc Ellis on the Pirates, Tom Hall on the Reds. I mean, there are guys who, beyond those guys I just mentioned, the rest of the team has holes they are short in. They have a weak bullpen, they have a weak bench, and so forth and so on, because they're an expansion team. But right now, they're the Cinderella. Also, as a number 6 seed, the Tigers, if they win the series, they would get a revenge match against the number 1 Baltimore team who has a bye. If Ohio wins the series as a 3 seed, they would automatically get the White Sox, the 2 seed, and you got to think the White Sox would enjoy that, figuring that in a 7-game series instead of a 5-game series like the wild card, the longer the White Sox have, they should be able to outlast their opponents who don't have as much depth, and that's what Ohio is sorely lacking, depth. So that's the makeup of our series. Let's show you how it's played out. Game 1, and it's a good baseball game here. It is Mark Fidrich, and he's going against Lynn McLaughlin. If you're wondering, Vida Blue pitched the last game for Ohio. He's not available till Game 3 in Detroit. So they have to go with McLaughlin and Doc Ellis in Games 1 and 2. First inning, LaFleur singles, steals a base, scores on a Norm Cash single. Bottom of the second, a couple singles and a double play, scores a run. We're tied at 1. Third inning, RBI triple by Willie Horton, 2-1 Tigers. Solo homer, Bill Freehan in the 4th, 3-1 Tigers. And it seems like it's not going to be a good day for McLaughlin. He loads the bases in the 5th, they don't score, puts a guy on in the 6th. McLaughlin's day, 7 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs allowed. Ohio starts to rally off of Fidrich, chipping away in the 6th. You get a Larry Lynn single, stolen base, scores on a Dan Driesen single, makes it 3-2. Then in the bottom of the 7th inning, it's Bill Robinson with a solo homer, and we're tied at 3. Ohio, bravely, if you want to call it that, based on how they have to play, I should say, they pull McLaughlin, who's not had best day, even though he stayed out of trouble, only giving up the 3 runs. But they just think the Tigers aren't as good against lefties, so they go to Tom Hall, who's had a really challenging year with He doesn't have any saves. He's the closer. He doesn't have a save. He's got 4 wins and 4 losses. So he probably should be 0-0 with like 8 saves, but he's 4-4 with 0. That's the way of looking at it. He comes on in the 8th and 9th innings, scoreless. Fitterich is pulled with an out in the 8th for John Hiller, as John Hiller is probably the only pitcher on Detroit better than Fitterich. And he ends the inning here. Dan Driesen flies into an 8-8-2 double play. They try and tag up with 2 outs, and Ron LaFleur throws a runner out at the plate. So it stays tied at 3. We go conventional extra innings. We don't do the modern rule for our season anymore now that the playoffs have begun. So all the games go as long as they go. So you have to have a bullpen, and that's something Ohio doesn't have. Top of the 10th, Tom Hall gives up a leadoff single to lefty Dick McAuliffe. After surveying the lineup, there are no more lefties in this lineup for Detroit. So Tom Hall's usefulness is suspect. So they go to Larry Demary. He gets the next 3 batters out. Bottom of the 10th inning for Hiller. Has to hold his water here if he can. You get a leadoff single by Orlando Cepeda. DeJesus is a pinch runner. They bunt. Elrod bunts him to second base. Ike Brown gets a single to right field. They don't run DeJesus. They could have. They decided, nope, we'll keep him first and third with 1 out. Infield is up. And with the infield up, wouldn't you know it, pinch hitter Pepe Mangual rolls the plus to end the game. Off of John Hiller. He gets the infield up hit, and that walks it off. The Tigers, in losing 3 to Baltimore, they lost 4-3, 3-1, and 4-3. And they've just lost 4-3 one more time to the Ohio players. Larry Demary gets the win in relief. John Hiller gets the loss. So once again, Cinderella, she's looking pretty good. She's getting all dolled up. She's, yeah, it's happening, folks. It really is. Game number 2. Oh my goodness, folks. It is Mickey Lolich, Doc Ellis, and the almost LSD no-no. You got a no-no going. Doc had a no-no going for a 3 2/3. Now, Mickey Lolich, here's the case. Now, at this point of his career, he dominates lefties, and he's just okay against righties. Well, I got some news for you. Ohio's only lefty in today's lineup is Dan Driesen. The other 8 guys are right-handed. And they have a day with Mickey Lolich that a lot of teams, Baltimore would have loved to do this. Of course, the Pirates did do that in the World Series. The Mets in a World Series against the Tigers, that happened. Oakland lost to the Tigers in the playoffs one year. Finally, we have a team that seems to have the Tigers' number. Bill Robinson, homer. George Hendrick doubles and scores. 2 outs in the 3rd inning. 3-run homer by Celerino Sanchez, who has power versus lefties off the Lolich card. Celerino was on the retired list in undrafted free agency at the end of our draft, and he got picked up by this team because he's a 3 at third base. That's the reason. He's not a 4, he's a 3. So they signed him for that specific reason, which is hardly, an upgrade. 5th inning, Celerino Sanchez, RBI double, 4 RBIs today for the 218 hitter. Lolich is gone after 6 innings, 6 runs, 13 hits. And it would not matter because Doc Ellis is just rolling along with singles, 7 of them. A 7 single, no walk, 7 strikeout, CGSO in a playoff game. Folks, we got a story in the American League. The Ohio players beat the Tigers 6-0. And it sets up today's game with their ace, Vida Blue, folks. Tigers. We have always said, are these guys too old? Are these guys too old? Are these guys too old? Well, they're not too old, right? Because they just added Mark Fidrich and Ron LaFleur. But are the Tigers suddenly vulnerable in the postseason? Something, they've had plenty of success getting to World Series. normally going to a World Series or two where Baltimore or Oakland would have been, the Tigers have stolen those spots. Playing like it's 1968 for 7 more years. But today, this could be it. This could be it. I've said this a million times on this channel. You've been following me. Every time I say the Tigers are done, they come back and do remarkable stuff. And then I conclude the video with saying, you see that? You see that? I'm always wrong trying to eliminate the Detroit Tigers. Today's starting pitchers, it is Vida Blue. First overall pick in the draft 2 years in a row for the same team. If you're wondering, they took the 75 card first overall 2 years ago. And then they bumped him up to the 76 card because it's the best card in the American League in 1976. An 18-game winner with a 2.35 ERA and 298 innings. And you could argue, after 1971, this is the second best Vida Blue card that exists. And the Tigers did not want to go down 0-2. They thought sure they could get a road win, or maybe 2. They're not where they want to be, and they have to go to Game 3. Gary Gentry, a guy who is most famous for being on the New York Mets in the '69 series. Gary Gentry was a Brave in 1973, 4-6 with a 3.41 and 87 innings. Very nice pitcher. He's fine. I mean, he's okay. But he's not as good as Vida Blue, I can tell you that. And he's a starter 6. And the Tigers bullpen beyond John Hiller is not that great either, folks. I'm setting the table for. I mean, this is it. You can't, if you like Cinderella, if that's one of your favorite, cartoons or comic books or the heck of that crap is, we set the table for it to happen today in front of you, a 3-game sweep. So let's see if it happens. From Detroit, Tiger Stadium, leading off for the visiting Ohio players, Larry Lentz, 1.5 grounds a second. Dave Cash, 2/10s a single. Dan Driesen, 67, pops to first. And George Hendrick, 48, is a walk, 2 on, 2 outs for Carlos May. 34, flies to right field. Bottom of the first, it's Ron LaFleur. 4-4, oh, this is going to kill you. Homer 1, fly ball's a fly ball. That's what they do. That's what they do, folks. The Vida Blues, the Palmers, the Catfish Hunters, the Tom Seavers, Don Suttons. They always put like Homer 1 fly ball on 4-4 or 4-5, just so you have hope for a fleeting moment, and then you realize, oh yeah, that's right. It's virtually an automatic out. Jerry Terrell getting a start versus a lefty, grounds a short. And Al Kaline, 2-11, grounds to the pitcher. The Tigers' valuable lefties, Dick McAuliffe, Jim Northrup, Norm Cash. Well, Cash is on the bench today. He can't hit lefties at all anymore. McAuliffe and Northrup are in there anyway. McAuliffe batting 7th, Northrup batting 9th, mostly because it's the Tigers, and they're going to live with their boys, I'll tell you that. You talk about brotherhood, you got it with the Tigers. I mean, these are the same 10 dudes, 10, 11 guys or whatever, from 68 for the next 7 years, and so, yeah. Top of the second, it's Bill Robinson, 6'10", center X. LaFleur's a 3-13 in center, makes the catch. Orlando Cepeda, 66, flies to left. Elrod Hendricks, 210, rolls to the mound. Willie Horton, 37's a K. Bill Freehand, 212, grounds a short. Jerry Moses, 38, is a K. Top of the third, Ike Brown, 410, pops to short. Larry Lentz, 411, first C. Dave Cash, 410, pops to short. Gary Gentry doing his part. Dick McAuliffe, 65, center. Dave Chalk, 53, right X. Your right fielder is Bill Robinson's a 2E11 in right field, but that's going to be a 2-base error. First break for the Tigers. They get a man on second base for the first time in 2 games because they had nothing but singles in yesterday's game. Jim Northrup versus a lefty, 68, he pops to second. And with 2 outs, back up top to the rookie, Ron LaFleur. Actually, he's not a rookie. 2-5 grounds are short. We go to the fourth inning. It's Dan Driesen. 46. Double one. Base hit. B stealer. Moses got a -1 arm. He'll stay at first base. George Hendrick. 63. Second X. McAuliffe. Can he turn the 2? It's a 2E13 second baseman. He does. Dick McAuliffe turns the twin killing. 2 outs. And it's Carlos May. He grounds to short. Bottom of the fourth is Jerry Terrell. 68. Lines the third. Alf Kaline. 2-7. Pops to second. And William Horton. 63. Short X. Bad defense there. 4E44. Larry Lentz makes the play. You know, if you're wondering if the Ohio can simply, like, you know, compete in the postseason like another team, and you do the obvious, you know, situations, you don't have the obvious situations. I mean, you know, you've got a 4E44 shortstop. 2 of your relievers only hardly pitch, yet oddly enough, they've pitched a lot because they've been winning or losing games by a lot. That is Jesse Jefferson and Mike Norris, who aren't really competitive relievers, let's call it that. They've been leaning on Demiri and Hall, for better or worse, if you need help late in the game with the bullpen. That's it. Devon Jesus on the bench, a 170 hitter. Sanchez, again, on the bench, but you saw he won a game. Pepe Mangual won a game. Yeah, it's just the extra parts of this Ohio machine just aren't particularly good in a playoff series, you'd think. Yet they are, they're undefeated. So what do I know, right? Top of the fifth, it's Bill Robinson. 67's a K. Orlando Cepeda, 2-9. Let's take a look at a card. Haven't seen one in a scoreless game. Orlando Cepeda, the first designated hitter in the American League, but didn't get into the batter's box before Ron Blomberg got into the batter's box for the Yankees when the Yankees and the Red Sox played in Fenway Park in 1973 on opening day. Cepeda would hit 289 with 20 home runs. Very comfortable at DH. Actually has one more year beyond this, then he'll finally call it quits. He's in the American League, not with Boston. He's here with Ohio. 2-9, homer, 1-9. It is gone on a 2. Orlando Cepeda bringing some of his San Francisco magic of the 60s to Ohio. And dare we say it, the Tigers are now 15 outs away from their season being over. Elrod Hendricks, 410 center X. LaFleur, 313 makes the catch. And Ike Brown, 54 pops to first. Bottom of the fifth. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
The Tigers haven't scored since game 1. And they have gone 13 scoreless innings since. Bottom of the fifth. It's Bill Freehan. 48 off Ida Blue, single 1-14. He gets it. Jerry Moses. 3-7 for Moses, single 1-2. Line is short, and that's a line out. Dick McAuliffe. 5-11 is a strikeout, and with 2 outs. Dave Chalk, 3-11, flies to right field. Top of the 6th inning. Larry Lentz, 56, second X. McAuliffe's a 2, makes the play. Dave Cash, 63. Second X again. 2 outs. Dan Driesen, 68. Pop to third base. How about Gary Gentry? 1 mistake pitch to Orlando Cepeda in 6 innings. I'll take that any day. If you're a Tigers fan, what has gone off here with the zeros, Detroit? Come on, let's get something going. Don't be feeble. If you're going to lose 8-7. My goodness, don't lose 1-0, for Pete's sakes. Jim Northrup. 47, single 1-15 off of Blue. He gets it. 14 base runner for Ron LaFleur. 39 is a walk, and here come your Tigers. It's number 2 hitter, Jerry Terrell. Oh my goodness. Do I bunt in the 6th inning? I think I'm going to do it, folks. I'm going to bunt Jerry Terrell just because he's not even a true Tiger. I hate bunting in the 6th inning, but this team's got to at least tie or win this game. He's going to bunt. It's a good one. 2nd and 3rd for K-Line. Do you bring the infield up, risking a 2-run single if you do that? Because a ground ball short A in this particular situation is an RBI, and that's what K-Line does, frankly. They'll bring the infield up, trying to protect a 1-0 lead. Sure, why not? Everything Ohio does seems to work anyway. So 2nd and 3rd, infield up, out K-Line. Here's the pitch. 68, that's a liner to the 3rd, no sac fly. And with 2 outs, it's Willie Horton. Let's take a look at Willie. The bright spot of Detroit the last few years has been Willie Horton, like leading the American League in homers for a couple of those years. Now, I will say his stats are down a little bit this year. That doesn't mean they're bad. They're just down from previous years. His 74 card, 298 average, and 15 home runs absolutely crushes lefties. Bases open, but the thing is, Bill Freehan has almost as many on bases on his card behind Willie. So Vita Blue, Willie Horton, here is the pitch. 59 rolls to second. It's Vita Blue again, delivering a 1st overall pick in the draft performance. We go to the 7th. Gentry's not going anywhere. The kid's doing great. George Hendrick, 38's a base hit. Now you got Carlos May. 3-5 flies to center. Bill Robinson, 69 flies to right with 2 outs. Tiger fans on their feet. Cepeda, he got him last time. Let's see what happens this time. 1-3 flies to center field. The fans on their feet in Detroit for their guy, Gary Gentry, wasn't even with the Tigers, has delivered 7 outstanding innings, out-pitching Mickey Lolich, and actually out-pitching Mark Fidrich for that matter. Now, do the Ohio players add some defense to this team? The answer is they could. Actually, they will. They'll take Cepeda out and put someone in. They'll put Ivan DeJesus in at shortstop. Larry Lentz will move to DH. And a free substitution that we use without that pitcher substitution rule. Stretch time here in Detroit, should say, at Tiger Stadium. We are enjoying listening to Stevie Wonder's brilliant Inner Visions from 1973. Normally when the Tigers are playing at home, I'll play some Stevie Wonder. But when the Tigers are up against the wall and in trouble, I'll give you Inner Visions every time, folks. This is the one. This is the one at the top of the pyramid of the Stevie Wonder pyramid, folks. You're not going to get a better LP out of him than this. 2 high visions, living the whole thing. The whole thing. I mean, just it doesn't matter. Every song's a hit. Frankly, Higher Ground was the big hit off this record. I don't think it's that great a song, really. Anyway, don't you worry about a thing. He's Mr. Know-It-All, Golden Lady. Oh my goodness, what a great, brilliant LP by Stevie Wonder. The Tigers could use some volume here in their quest to keep their season going in the bottom of the 7th inning. It'll be Bill Freehan leading off. 3-6 right on cue, Bill Freehan. Let's take a look at the card of 1974. 18 homers and 500 plate appearances and a 297 batting average. Where does this come from? It's this fountain of youth the Tigers seem to always be drinking from. It's the 68 Tigers. I'm telling you, folks, year after year after year after year. K-Line, Horton, Freehan, McAuliffe, Northrup, Norm Cash, Mickey Stanley. They don't get any older. They don't change. And they deliver in big moments like this one. Then the Tigers have tied the game. Jerry Moses, 33, grounds to short. Dick McAuliffe, 5-12, rolls to first. And Dave Chalk, 1-7, double 1 to 11 is a double. Chalk's at second base, the tie run, and it's Jim Northrup. Of course we're going to pitch to him. 3-2 3-6. Let's take a look at the Northrop card. It's going to be heartbreaking, folks. I'll show you the card anyway. Jim Northrop, 1973. He's hitting 307. He hasn't hit 300 in the 1970s until now. What's going on? Best batting average since 68, I believe. 12 home runs, 470 plate appearances. 3-6 homer, 1-15. But when we look up at the board, he cannot get it at Tiger Stadium. There's no wind in the stadium. The stadium's too tall to have wind. It just got hung up in the lights or something. And it fell down on the top of the warning track into the glove of Bill Robinson. And that is just a long fly ball, tragically for Jim Northrop. And the game remains tied. All right. Wow. Tigers are never short of drama, folks. That's the one thing you're going to get in a Tigers broadcast. They always make it fun. They played a 7-game series against the Pirates 2 years ago, and they're not going to go quietly into this night. 7-7. What do you do with Gary Gentry? No reason whatsoever to take him out. You've got Elrod Hendricks and Ike Brown. Hardly guys you'd go to a pitching change for anyway. So he will pitch to Elrod Hendricks. 3-6 is a walk. Now number 9 hitter, Ike Brown. 1-6. Let's take a look at Ike Brown. Oh my goodness, is he a Tiger? Yep. Former Detroit Tiger. Again, that fountain of youth goes both ways. If you once played for the Tigers but are on a different franchise, you still get that fountain of youth consideration. He was strictly a pinch hitter in 1973, hitting .289. But the fact that he could catch, play third, left field, first base, what is there not to like about Ike Brown? 1-6 is a double to left field. Hendricks will drop his boat anchor at third base. Second to third, nobody out, and now it's making us look bad for Gary Gentry. Do you go down on all four cylinders with the best pitcher on your staff? And the answer is yeah. And that is a pitching change. Even though he's not at the point of weakness, they are going to simply pull him after 7. He's responsible for those 2 runners. And they're just going to go John Hiller for the Tigers season at this point. Hiller's a relief 3. Could pitch the 8th, the 9th, and the 10th, and possibly even the 11th, I suppose I really wanted him to in an elimination game. The brilliant John Hiller in 1973, 10-5, .44 ERA at 125 innings. We'll have to figure out this thing. What are you supposed to do here? Larry Lentz is an 8 bunter, so they'll bring the infield up with runners at second and third. Let's take a look. You got to look at this card. Let's take a look at this Larry Lentz card because it's problematic. And he doesn't need to swing, and he practically won't. He's better against righties than lefties. He's so bad against lefties, in fact, that he's got a bunch of ground ball Bs on his card that gets the runner at third gunned down at the plate, which means you only have 1 runner in scoring position with 1 out instead of 2. So it's almost like having a Lomax on your card when you think about it in those spots. So he's certainly not going to help the cause here. So they're going to go to a pinch hitter, and they have their choice between Mangual and Sanchez. There's no brainer here. They're going to do the same thing they did in the bottom of the 10th inning of Game 1, is that they pinched hit Pepe Mangual for Larry Lentz. With the infield up, he shot a single through the infield to win the game, and they're going to do the exact same thing. Both teams are. Hiller comes on in the 8th. Batting for Lentz is Pepe Mangual. Let's take a look at the card. First thing you want to look at is the roll of 3-2 and see the plus there. Both sides, which won a game. Injury didn't even matter because the game was over. 75, he's with the Expos. It's .245 and a full season, 600 and some plate appearances. A lot of speed, reasonable defense, has some nice walks on this card, making that .245 average look better. Not a lot of extra base hits. Big moment again for Pepe Mangual. Second and third, no one out, infield up. Here's the pitch to Pepe. 55 is a strikeout. Now you got Dave Cash. Infield will remain up for Dave. 49 off Hiller is a strikeout. And with 2 outs, it's Dan Driesen. Here's the pitch to Driesen. 1-7. Let's take a look at the Driesen card. Hey, a Cincinnati Red postseason player, of course. Yep, Dan Driesen. And if you're wondering, look, the Reds, Big Red Machine, you think they can protect all their guys? Of course not. That's why Tom Hall is here. That's why Dan Driesen is here. I mean, they can't keep all the Reds on the Reds. They end up elsewhere. Driesen in 73 hits 301 in 400 plate appearances. At third, first, and left field. Of course, he's a first baseman here. 1-7 is a single to center field. 1 run will score. Do you run Ike Brown with 2 outs? Probably. What's his running? 12. He's going to run Ike Brown. Here's the play at the plate. And he scores off of the LaFleur arm, if you're wondering. Mickey Stanley. He's only got a -1 arm, though. It wouldn't have mattered. Mickey Stanley is on the bench. He's defensive replacement for LaFleur when they're ahead. His arm wouldn't have helped in that particular scenario. It is a 2-run single by Dan Driesen off of John Hiller here, and we have a 3-1 lead. And the rest of the American League is just tuned in. Word's got to Baltimore. Word has got to Chicago, the Minnesota Twins, the Oakland A's. They're all now sitting and watching to see if the Big Bad Tigers season is over with. Runner at first, B. Steeler with George Hendrick up. He will swing away. 1-4 flies to left. There is one more defensive spot for Ohio. That's at third base. That's Sanchez. He can come in for either Mangual or Carlos May or Ike Brown. I want to keep Ike Brown on the team because he has multiple positions. So Hiller's not going to leave the game. So let's have Sanchez come in for Carlos May and lead off. Celerino will lead off in the next inning. So it's 3-1. Vida Blue just giving up a solo homer. He needs 6 outs to go to the American League Division Series. He is loving this. You know, he got out of Oakland. They gave up a ton to get him. They gave up a draft pick, Don Wilson and Al Downing, 2 starters. Those guys, by the way, Don Wilson and Al Downing that left Ohio, they got a World Series ring last year for the Oakland A's. And then immediately the Oakland A's dumped them for Mike Torres. But in any event, the guys they traded for Vida Blue won a World Series ring. And now Vida Blue was awful a year ago. Now he looks great. With 6 outs to get. Top of the Tiger order. It'll be Ron LaFleur. 3-7's a walk. Now you're down 2. This is a tough situation. You don't want to get thrown out stealing here, so he'll be held on. Opening up a hole. If Jerry Terrell can shoot it through that hole there. Here's the pitch to Jerry Terrell. 32, center B plus an injury. Well, that's an out. That's all it is. And an injury. We'll need a shortstop. Verizon can just go into that spot for now, I suppose. And here is Al Kaline. Did we look at Al's card? Let's take a look at Al Kaline because this could be it, folks. Al Kaline actually won't be. He'll have one more year next year. Al Kaline in 73. Now he's just good against lefties. His defense is still spectacular. He's a .255 hitter with 10 home runs. In 74, he's exclusively a DH, and his bat gets better because he doesn't have the defensive duties. So he actually brings his average up 20 points or so, and then he retires. But here he is with a 73 card as a tie run. A lot of home runs against lefties. Here's the pitch to Al Kaline. 57's a K. And with 2 outs, it's Willie Horton. Saw the card earlier. Had that made the final out of the 6th inning. Here's the pitch to Willie. 47 off blue is a base hit to right field. The Tigers have the tying runs on. And it's Bill Freehan with that ridiculous card against lefties we just saw in the last inning. Can he do it? 2 innings in a row off of Vida Blue. And this is the point of weakness batter. There's a mound visit. There is a visit to the mound. Do they even think of pulling Vida Blue here? And the answer is no. I mean, Freehan, you invite a whole host of problems if you bring in a right-handed pitcher. That whole host of problems is called Norm Cash. He's stuck on the Tiger bench as long as the guy throws from the left side of the pitcher's mound. And Ohio wants to leave him there on the bench. So Vita Blue will face Bill Freehan with 2 outs here in the 8th inning. And here's the pitch. 47 is a base hit in the right field. You want to cut the lead in half? Yes, you're going to run the floor here to at least get 1 run. And he scores. And Horton goes to third on the throw. Yes. And you got runners on the corners in a 3-2 game. And Blue is at the point of weakness. Now, here's another scenario. You got McAuliffe on deck. Moses is at the plate. You might as well just go with another lefty to pitch to Jerry Moses. I'd rather pitch to Jerry Moses than pitch to Norm Cash or anybody else. Plus McAuliffe and Northrop are coming up next. So with Blue at the point of weakness, we'll double up with our lefties. We're going to pull Blue with 2 outs in the 8th inning. Respecting the point of weakness rule, Vita Blue leaves after 7 2/3, giving up the 2 runs. He is responsible for the runners on base. Could take a defeat here. But they're going to go right back to Tom Hall, and this is very scary if you're the Ohio players. They're asking Tom Hall to get a 4-out save. He is their closer. Here's his card. If you're wondering, he doesn't have any saves this year, and he's the closer. Figure that one out, folks. Figure that one out for a team who currently has the most wins in the American League. Their closer doesn't have any saves. In 1973, he was 8-5 with a 3.46 ERA in 104 innings for the Reds. 72, he was much better with Cincinnati, and by 74, he was, I think, back with the Twins. But Tom Hall here, big moment versus Jerry Moses with runners on the corners and 2 outs. It's Hall for the next 4 batters at least, and then they'll probably go to righty to face LaFleur at the top of the lineup, which would be Demary, assuming the game is still going on by that point. Jerry Moses, Tom Hall, here is the pitch. 64 of Hall is center X. It's Hendrick. He's pretty good. He's a 2E5. Can you get on Hendrick? A 2. E5 in center field. It's tricky out there in center. He makes the grab. Great defense, Hendrick. One of the few guys you shouldn't hit it to. He's a 2E5. You had Carlos May and Mangual are 3s in left. Robinson's E11 in right field. And yeah, so tough break there for the Tigers. Moses flies out to end the inning. We go to the 9th. What a great game this has turned out to be. 3-2. Hiller isn't going anywhere. We put Verizon in Terrell's spot for shortstop. On the bench, we have Norm Cash trapped as a left-hander by Blue and Hall and Mickey Stanley. And the other team has no bench. They used everybody. So leading off in the top of the 9th, it's the defensive replacement at third, Celerino Sanchez. 1-7's a K. Now you got Bill Robinson. 68 is a K, and with 2 outs, it's Ivan DeJesus. Defensive replacement at shortstop. He rolls to second base. Here it is. Buckle up. Bottom of the 9th. Tom Hall. Can he hit the first save of the year? I mean, the numbers are bizarre. His ERA is around 9 or 10. It's that bad. He's got 4 wins, 4 losses, and no saves. So he's going to try and get his first save of the year. He's got 2 lefties, McAuliffe and Northrop. Dare they pinch hit Mickey Stanley for one of those guys? Here's a scenario. Theoretically, you do it for Northrop, not McAuliffe. As McAuliffe has a higher home run chance to tie the game. Also, you lost the middle infielder, Jerry Terrell. So you have an extra outfielder. Stanley could come in for Northrop. So, yeah. McAuliffe will bat, leading off in the bottom of the 9th. Here's the pitch. 2-9 is a grounder to second base. Now you got Dave Chalk. He doubled his last at bat. 3-10 is a fly to center field. And what do you do with 2 outs here? Jim Northrop, last time up, you saw the card. 3-6 to give him a 2-run homer. 1-15. He did not He wasn't able to convert it. It was a fly ball. Terrible break for the Tigers. He's got that same homer chance. But Mickey Stanley's on the bench. He does not have power versus left-handed pitching. Oh my goodness. What a conundrum for the Tigers. Northrup has a very low chance of getting on, but if he gets on, it could be a home run. Stanley can get on base off of Hall, who's not very good against righties. Moreover, it's nothing but righties there on out, which means they'd go to Larry Demiri. Northrup or Stanley? Who do you want? Who do you want in this situation? My goodness. I think I got to go with Jim Northrup. We're going to let Jim Northrup bat versus Tom Hall because, again, Tom Hall has not been... We're going to assume we're getting 1 run to tie it in this inning or 2 runs to win it in this inning. So, yeah, it will be Jim Northrup here. With 2 outs in the 9th inning. Here's the pitch. 54 of Tom Hall is short X. That's short X either way. Now, it's a defensive replacement, but he's still not that great. It's DeJesus. Ivan DeJesus is a 3 E20 shortstop. A 3. It's a base hit off of DeJesus defense anyway. So Northrup's at first. He's a 14 runner. Mickey Stanley's also a 14. So no change there. And it's Ron LaFleur. And yes, get him. That's it. I'm done with Tom Hall. He's not going to get the save. He's going to continue this remarkable run of not getting any saves. There's nothing but righties up next. LaFleur, Verizon, Kaline, Horton, Freehand, Moses. Norm Cash is available as a pinch hitter. Did we open Pandora's box for a Norm Cash pinch hitting for Ron LaFleur moment? When does Norm Cash get the bat? It's theoretically the last at bat of Norm Cash's career. He is going to pinch hit. Oh gosh, this is so horribly tragic. He can do it though. He can pinch hit for Ron LaFleur, a 3-16 hitter in his own right. I can't guarantee that. I got to give Norm Cash a chance of knocking one out of the park. So here's the moment. This is more about history than it is about strategy. This is probably a low strategy moment. You're pinch hitting for a 3-16 hitting center fielder with Norm freaking Cash. And let's take a look at Norm Cash's card. This is the last card of his career. He's reduced to simply versus right-handed pitching. He's got homer on an 8 and 17. Had 19 of them and 363 at-bats in 1973. There are no more lefties available for Ohio. One option Demiri would have coming in. Did we look at Demiri's card? Let's look at Larry Demiri's card. I don't think we looked at it. So let's give Demiri some props as well. In 75, he was on the Pittsburgh Pirates. I think he was on a playoff team, was he not? 7-5 with a 2.90 ERA in 115 innings. Relief starter. He actually has the saves. He's got 4 of them. He's got the saves. This is the situation for Demiri to get his saves. Hall comes in for the save, then he's pulled, and then Demiri closes it out and gets the save. So that's what has worked thus far this year. You could walk Norm Cash as a 9 runner to face the righty Verizon with Kaline on deck. That would take some guts. And they're going to walk Norm Cash, and the fans in Detroit are apoplectic. They're throwing stuff on the field. I mean, it's good news, Detroit. You're getting the winning run put on first base. They are going to walk Norm Cash. I think they are. Are they not? Where was Northrup? Wasn't he? Oh, Northrup was on first. I just put the run in scoring position. I just did it now, though, didn't I? I just said it, so I'm doing it. So, yeah, Northrup was I thought Northrup was in scoring position with the base open. That was my mistake. But that's all right. We're going to play these cards. Norm Cash is getting intentionally walked. So he's at first. Northrup's at second as the tie run. And now the game will be in the hands of Tom Verizon. Let's take a look at this guy. This is what Demiri wants. He wants Tom Verizon. Arguably, you could say he threw 4 pitches outside the strike zone, if you want to consider that. Tom Verizon with the Tigers in 74 had 2 homers and 55 at-bats, but they were opportunistic both against righties, so they give him a bunch of power versus righties, and they give him on bases with walks against lefties and a 3 at shortstop. Very good short sample card for Tom Verizon. The only time in his career I think he's got power. And here it is, folks. He went to the All-Star game. He started the year red hot with 7 home runs in April, May, and June. Cooled off since, is on the bench today. Larry Demiri, Tom Verizon, tie run at second, winning run at first. Here is your pitch to Tom Verizon. 48 off Demiri is short X. Again, it's going to be to Jesus. He gave up the hit earlier. He's a 3E20. Got to plug in the 20 right here. He makes the play to Jesus. He makes the defensive play finally. Didn't do it the first time. Did it the second time. And again, in gut-wrenching fashion. And maybe this is the baseball gods finally correcting for all of the miracle seasons the Tigers have run with. The Tigers' season ends with a 6-game losing streak, all by 1 or 2 runs, being swept by the B&O, the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad, the B&O Railroad. The Orioles beat them 3 straight. Ohio beat them 3 straight. That's the ball game. We're going to close this thing out, take it right to the post game. Final score, Ohio 3, Detroit 2. Ohio with... This is what you can do if you're Cinderella, by the way. You can do ridiculous, not ridiculous, but you can take really risky moves. Walking a runner into scoring position, putting the winning run at first base. Now, most conventional baseball teams are not going to do that. But Ohio is hardly conventional. They just don't have enough. They got some really good players, like I said earlier, but they don't have enough players to really complete certainly a playoff team. But for now, it hasn't mattered. They've gotten the breaks they've needed 3 consecutive days. And they eliminate the Detroit Tigers 3 straight. My goodness. The losing pitcher, is it Hiller? No, Gentry. Yeah, Gentry takes the loss. Hiller started good. He gave up 1 hit and 2 Ks in that inning. It's the Dan Driesen single won the game, and 2 more strikeouts in the 9th. Gary Gentry, heartbreaking loss for him. 5 hits, 3 runs. 2 of those were inherited. He walked 2. He struck out a batter. Demiri gets the save. He gives up an intentional walk to Norm Cash and a ground out to get the save. Tom Hall in 1 inning. Gave up a hit. And he got Jerry Moses out in the 8th inning. Vida Blue gets the victory. 6 hits and 2 runs. And frankly, the Tiger offense was just not good enough. Seriously not good enough. The pitching was there. Don't blame Fitterich, Gentry, Hiller, really. Lolich, Lemanchik's also on the team. The Detroit offense could not muster more than 4 runs in any of the last 6 games they played. They were shut out, scored a run, or 2, 3, or 4. That was all they could do. 1019-0109, 3627, 2534, 3425. Isn't it kind of odd? All the teams who were going to finally dump the Tigers, the old men of baseball, Baltimore, the White Sox, the A's, Twins, even in the World Series, they beat the Dodgers in the World Series, they lost to the Mets, they lost to the Pirates. It takes the Ohio player expansion team to finally be a team to knock the Tigers out. 1019-0109, 3627. 2534, 3425. It's game 3. And when we look at this, we're going to find that the Tigers have just finished their season a game over 500. That's how bad this fall has gone. 3-game sweep. Again, all the games are close. Tigers could have won all these games. Tigers could have won 6 in a row, really. The Baltimore games and these games. They were all winnable games. They just could not get what they needed. So we start with the Tigers, 19 and 18. They were 19 and 12. They were competing for a top seed in the American League. They beat Oakland 3-1 in their opening series. They beat the White Sox in a series earlier in this year, but 3-1. They dominated both of those series. And here they are now, 19 and 18. They finished the year hitting .252 with a more than respectable .350 ERA. Some great pitching got wasted. John Hiller has 3 losses. He's 1-3 with 7 saves. 3 losses for Hiller. He's only given up 4 runs. 4 runs allowed in 19 2/3 innings. 7 walks, 24 strikeouts. Great year, bad luck for him. Fidrich, you could say, outperformed his Rookie of the Year card, going 7-4, 5 complete games. Mickey Lolch is old. 2-6, might be the end of Mickey. Freehand led the club with 8 homers. We talked about Willie Horton's year being down a little bit. He still hit 6 home runs. He's 40 for 144, hitting .278. We'll have a full elimination of the Tigers coming up. That'll be the next video we watch. But the Ohio players now, this is stunning. They're 28 and 20. They've scored 193 runs, given up 184. That's a lucky team right there. They have only +9, but they're +8 in 1 loss. They're hitting .270 with a .348 ERA, so the stats are there. Vida Blue is 8-4 with 7 complete games. Matter of fact, this pitching staff, 13 complete games. When it comes to the bullpen, the back end has not been overworked, as all the relievers have 12, 13 1/3, 12 2/3, 15 2/3 innings. Here's the curious line of Tom Hall. 4 wins, 4 losses, no saves. He's given up 14 runs in 15 2/3 innings. He's got an .807 ERA. Larry Demiri has given up 10 runs in 12 2/3. He's got a .714 ERA. 8 and 7 are the 2 guys who close out games. That's their ERAs for the Ohio players. Jefferson and Norris are 0 and 0. No decisions because they're too terrified to bring them in a pivotal moment. Norris has given up 16 runs in 13 innings. Jesse Jefferson's been good, though. 5 runs in 12. He should be the 3rd musketeer out of that bullpen. It's all about starting pitching for the Ohio players. You got Vida Blue at 124 innings. McLaughlin 108, Rudy May 76, Doc Ellis 66. The starting pitching has been incredible for the Ohio players, and they're going to ride that. If you're wondering about pitching staff use, we saw Baltimore win a World Series about 5 years ago with Palmer, Cuellar, McNally, and Dick Hall closing out games, and the other 4 pitchers hardly played. And that's what Baltimore took to a World Series title. And Ohio is trying to replicate that. Bill Robinson, 10 home runs to lead the team. He went to the All-Star game. Larry Lynch stole 19 bases. He made a surprise All-Star appearance. And Dave Cash, he's cooled off a little bit. He still might be leading the American League in hits. He's got 63 for 201. Dave Cash is hitting .313, but I don't think he leads the league in hits anymore. These are good numbers, 28-20, 19-18. We'll go right to the postseason set right here. Wildcard, here it is. OHP, 3-0. And they're 8 games over 500. And the Tigers are 19 and 18. Just a game over 500. Wow. 28 and 20 Ohio players. We'll take a look at the overall here as well. There they are. Look at the wins in the American League. There's Baltimore. There's the White Sox. There's the Oakland A's, 19 and 17. Oh my goodness. Ohio players are 28 and 20. Wow. So, the Ohio players, we know they will play the White Sox. in the divisional series. That will be a fascinating battle. White Sox have to know that they're in complete control of that one. They would be a heavy favorite. They simply can't be swept 4 straight. They got to play to 7 games. There's simply, you would think, no way. Ohio players got a 3-game shot here against the Tigers. To think they can do the same thing over 7 long games over this White Sox team would be extremely unlikely. But that's what, the White Sox are going to have to deal with. So that's it today, folks. Break up an expansion Cinderella. Ohio players, they swept the Detroit Tigers 3 straight in a wild card series. We'll see you next time.